Hey guys, it's MugenLord here, and I'm back again with some more Dragon Quest Heroes 2 footage. And I figured that since I've already recorded this without commentary, I figured that I'd come back to this video. Since a lot of you guys love to hear my commentary during gameplay, I figured that I pretty much guide you through what's going on in this gameplay footage right here. So, for starters, I just want to say that this game is pretty interesting. If you guys don't know what's Dragon Quest Heroes, Dragon Quest Heroes is pretty much the Dynasty Warriors company, the guys behind Dynasty Warriors. This company has pretty much been taking a lot of games lately and just been taking their gameplay and adding it to different IPs like Gundam and One Piece and Legend of Zelda and the soon Fire Emblem Heroes. So just to give you guys an idea, that's what you guys are looking at. But what's so unique about Dragon Quest Heroes 2 is pretty much they took a lot of Dragon Quest elements in this game and added the Dynasty Warriors gameplay, but made it feel more like an RPG. You actually get a chance to really explore towns and do everything that an RPG would do, especially Dragon Quest. So that's what's pretty neat. So on with the gameplay here. Pretty much in this footage right here, I'm playing multiplayer online with my brothers, DX Strike and Keel Lancer, and they're pretty much helping me protect the king of Habra. We're trying to protect them as we push the enemies back, and I must say that this game is just it's just all out fun and addictive. So sit back and enjoy the gameplay footage, and I'll pop in every once in a while to give you an idea of what's going on here in this footage.
The Nightmares will have to wait.
Good work, all of you. Soldiers of Habra, forward! Archers, into position! Pepper them with arrows! Halt, men! The bowmen must be defeated before we can go any further. Shippers! Peppered them with arrows, he says. I don't much like the sound of that.
Then don't let it happen. Come on, let's get up there and take them down.
That's the archers dealt with. It should be safe for the king to move forward now.
So this is pretty much a part where we're actually about to enter a dungeon. And what's so unique about this game too, as far as dungeons are concerned in this game, there are actually puzzles that you actually solve within the dungeon levels of this game as well. So that's pretty, it's pretty fun. Now, if you guys haven't noticed, if you look in the lower left-hand corner, you will also notice that there's little icons at the bottom of the screen of like different monsters. Now, the thing is, if you pretty much kill certain monsters, you will get these monster tokens. Now with these monster tokens, they will give you different type of monster classes, and each monster classes does something different. Some are support, some of them are attack and defense and stuff like that. So when you get these tokens and you collect a certain amount of them, you can use a directional pad to pretty much select what token that you want to use and hit up on the directional pad to actually activate the token, and it will summon that monster. Now if you look at the robot right there and the golem that we just finished defeating, those type of monsters, the bigger monsters, you actually transform into those monsters and actually take control of them. So that's pretty neat. And then with the support monsters, you can actually call them out on the field, and those monsters will pretty much assist you on the stage. They run around and follow you and everything around the stage, and they stay there as long as you pretty much they're pretty much defeated, or when you move on to another location, they disappear. So now there's an invasion back outside, where the King of Habra is at. So we have to once again protect them and stop the king from getting hurt, or stop his soldiers from getting hurt, so they can advance forward into the pyramid and everything. Now there's another thing I want to mention, and that's as far as health is concerned. Now in the game, when you enter into a dungeon or enter into a story mission, before you start, you pretty much have 3 healing, I guess you could say like tries. You got three healing herbs that's given to you by, each individual character has their own 3 healing herbs. Now the thing is, if you run out of all 3 healing herbs, you can no longer heal your opponent, and you also use those 3 healing crystals or herbs to revive your fallen partners as well. So when you use the healing herbs, it also not only heals your character, it heals everyone in the vicinity, or everyone that's in your party that's currently active. Then the mission is over if the leader of the party is dead, officially dead, and no one can revive the leader of the party. So you also got to keep that in mind. So what makes this game difficult in a way is when everyone pretty much uses up all 3 of their healing crystals or healing herbs. So you have to be pretty much cautious of how you pretty much spend your healing crystals or your healing herbs. So you got to keep that in mind. And if you're playing multiplayer, it's very, very important. If you look at the bottom of the screen, you notice that there's also communication icons and stuff. But since my brothers and I are pretty much in the same room, we can pretty much communicate to each other. But if you're playing with random players or over online against with random people, you always have to keep in mind or let others know when you have used pretty much your healing items. So you have to be able to stay in coordination and know when to use and when not to use your healing items. But there's also other ways to pretty much heal your characters as well. By holding the circle button down to charge your character up, it's called fire up. And if you notice that the icons at the bottom where you have the square, triangle, X, and circle, if you hold circle, it has fire up. You can charge your character and they pretty much glow to like a reddish color, and you press circle again, and then you'll gain 2 HP points as you hold the circle button down. So that's also to keep in mind. That's similar to like an MMORPG when you making your character sit down and rest to gain HP. So it's kind of like that in a way. since this is considered a dungeon, you also have to look out for traps. Now, traps is something that's really tricky, and some of these traps can poison your character. It put all these kind of pretty much status effects on your character, so you really have to keep in mind to watch out for those, because that's really those traps can be dangerous. Let me just put it that way, especially if you're in a hallway or if you're in a certain area of the dungeon where you're surrounded by monsters, and then on top of that you have to look out for these traps, so you really have to pay attention. Now, if you see right here, I grabbed the tension boost. Now if you look on the side of the character icon of Teresa, she glows pink. Now if you press in, I believe, the R3 button, it's pretty much like a limit break or a trance from Final Fantasy 9. Once you activate that tension, you'll pretty much, you know, do critical damage, and then as the pink meter, tension meter decreases, you press R3 once again and you'll do like a super move. Now the thing that's interesting about this as well is that your party also has special party effects that you can add to your character, like special stat bonuses towards your attack, or increase your HP, your MP, and everything. So there's so many mechanics to this game, so this is not just your typical Dynasty Warrior games. This game actually has some strategy and has some depth to it.
It looks like they're triggered by panels on the floor. Watch your step, everyone.
Now, as far as the combat and the gameplay mechanics is concerned, when it comes to performing combos, the thing that I really didn't enjoy much about Dynasty Warriors, because the game it gets repetitive after a while. You just mashing the same buttons on and off. Now, what I like about this game is this game really does add a variety in terms of attacks. You have your standard attack, which is your square button, which is attack 1, and then you have your triangle button, which is attack 2. Now, the thing is, you can pretty much mix those up, but the additional moves that you earn is through when you level up and you have a skill tree, which allows you to use your points, your experience points, or your, I guess you could say, job points, to unlock other type of attacks. Now, to activate those type of attacks, you have to hold the R1 button, and when you hold the R1 button, a menu will come up that indicates if you hold R1 and press triangle, you can assign an attack, a special attack there. You can hold R1 and use it and press the square button to assign a special attack on pretty much all 4 buttons. But these type of buttons or skills pretty much use your magic points, and you really have to pretty much use those wisely. So the thing is, while you use your square and triangle combos, you can implement that. You can implement your other attacks by, after finishing your square and triangle attacks, you can press R1 and hold it, and then press square, triangle, or circle, or X, or wherever you have those special moves assigned to extend your combos. So that's another interesting thing. Now, if you notice, after I died, Ruff had pretty much revived me, and that was my brother DX Strike. He's using Ruff at the moment. He revived me using one of his heal crystals. So I believe he only has 2 more left, if I can remember. And now he has to be wise of how he uses the other 2. So now you have to really play smarter. You have to watch out when your opponents attack you and everything. And there's also defense options in this game. You can use R2 to roll away from danger, or you can press L1 to use your shield and block. Now, when you use shield and block, I think it pretty much cuts the attack of the enemies in half when you use your shield, or it depends on how many points you allocate to your defense as well. Alright, so now my tension meter is at max once again. So Teresa is pretty much glowing pink, and she's ready to burst. and is now you have to really be wise on how you use it. You don't want to use it right away, because at this point I'm figured that, hey, this may not be over exactly, which proved my point. So I didn't want to waste it on that one enemy, because I wasn't sure if there's going to be any other enemies that appear. So this boss had pretty much showed up, which is the Field Marshal Donk. Yeah, so now we have to fight him, and I wasn't sure should I use it right away, because I wanted to see how much damage this character was going to take. Now, like I said, that I wound up using the healing item to try to heal everybody at one time. And this guy hits pretty hard, so I have to be careful. And also, you can lock on your targets. Now, the thing is about the lock on thing, which I find kind of funny or kind of weird. And as you see right here, this is my trance or tension that you can call it whatever you want to call it. But yeah, I finally activated it, and as you see on the side of her icon, the energy bar is going down. So at this point, I use pretty much her limit break. Yeah, so you can also stagger the enemies, which allow you to pretty much gain edge on your opponent as well. Now, as I said before, you really have to be smart about how you use these special attacks and everything, and also healing your teammates as well. So you have to really be careful about that. So what I was saying about the targeting system, it can get really funny. I think the only time the targeting system really works is when you fight much bigger enemies. And so in order to target your enemies with the lock-on system, you got to press in the R3 button, and then the icon will show up on the enemy that you're targeting. And then what you do is you tap the right stick again to switch your targets. But I think only this worked on like sub bosses or bigger monsters into the second game. So I'm glad I really picked this game up. So that pretty much wraps everything up with this video. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Please let me know if you guys want to hear more commentary with my next videos concerning Dragon Quest Heroes and other gameplay footage. This is MugenLord, and I'm signing off.
We passed that test with flying colors.